October 2022. I have been your presenter, Don Ezra Francois. Thank you for joining us.
You have been listening to the lunchtime edition of news. Our next major
from many distant lands, our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain. By test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those.
Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. As usual, as soon as we start this program, you pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any issue trending, any topical issue of the day. In Grenada, you always have things to speak about, and never a dull moment. And you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. The number is 442-0175. We're in the month of October, and by tradition, the Catholic Church dedicates each month of the year to a certain devotion. The month of October is dedicated to the Holy Rosary, one of the best known of Catholic devotions. During that period of time, Catholics are encouraged to gather the family together and say the Rosary every day. You know, to teach the children to say the Rosary. Or Catholics may gather in the church on a daily basis, morning and evening and noon, and say the Rosary. The Rosary is considered as one of the most powerful and potent weapons of the Catholic Church and Christians. And maybe just praying the Rosary with your families might help you to settle disputes and problems easier. We have too much of family in Grenada that break up like a creeks. You can see the result of it. A lot of our young men is in the mental institute and in prison. And with greater regularity, you've seen some wandering around. Even in schools, our boys are not doing as good as the girls. And homes are too crack up. Young men that perhaps should shack up and get married. Even the society, it is not encouraged. You know, man have to propagate its species. So it's important for men to want to make more. Particularly if you like yourself. It's just a natural phenomenon for you to want to make more. And man is a social being. You're not living alone in the jungle. So we have to learn to work together, to settle disputes. You know, sometimes we make a mountain out of a molehill, and all sorts of unnecessary quarrels in home. We are not quarreling about education, about investment and business, and how to take care of our health. We're practically quarreling about non-issues. A small country like Grenada, some of the problems we have, some of the challenges we have, we ought not to have it. It is because we have broken homes. And when we listen to the social media and radio stations and programs, it seems everybody encouraging families to break up more. Today is October 20th, 39 years ago. Grenadians was under shoot on sight curfew. Barbados station was one of the stations that you could have get readily. And as you listen to it, you'd have hear people cry and moan for Grenada on shoot on sight curfew. Imagine you had the execution of the Prime Minister then and a number of his ministers and a number of other people. But rumors was running wild. And we thought then that more people had died in the massacre. Some people was coming up and saying, they're killing everybody, they're killing everybody. So in Grenada, people was extremely concerned. People were shedding tears for the children that they did not see. And you have some Grenadians that like drama and excitement. When you ask, what's about John? John dead. What's about Mary? That dead. So they was going through the communities and spreading these rumors like wildfire. It was a very interesting time 39 years ago. A lot of the young people don't know about it except what they read about those executions. And then people sit down praying for the Americans to come. And Eugenia Charles, Tom Adams, John Compton, and Siaga in Jamaica, which was no friend of Maurice Bishop then. Bishop used to call Eugenia Charles Mother Hen, and Tom Adams Yardfowl, and Siaga, that fascist ruler from Jamaica. Mitchell in St. Vincent didn't meddle with him too, but he was more quiet. Judge Chambers in Trinidad announced visa for Grenadians. And with the heavy population of Grenadians in Trinidad, it brought more sadness to people's eyes. And in Grenada, the only hope for a number of individuals was the Americans. I wonder if the Americans were going to come. And all people was praying for the Americans to come. And as the rumor spread around, yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
my brother, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, as a Christian, I believe in prayer. See, prayer is the greatest weapon to all Christians. And prayer could remove mountains. But you see, what happened? What hinder people from receiving what they pray, what they want to achieve? Because when they pray with a heart of hatred, a heart of unforgiveness. And we see some people tell you they pray every day, but they tell you they can't forgive that brother, they can't forgive that person. But I want to say to them, if you can forgive your brother on earth, the heavenly Father will not forgive you. We have to forgive one another. No man's perfect. We all have sin and come short of the glory of God. And you see how many times should we forgive? 70 times 7. 70 times 7, that was 490 times. And you have to be more. Once you live and somebody do wrong, you have to forgive them. And see, if someone come to you and ask you to forgive and refuse to forgive the person, right? The person declare the conscience, and their burden goes upon you because you carry their burden and your burden. And I know there are some Christians it seems that they can't forgive. They do have the heart to forgive, but it is important to forgive one another. When you forgive people, a weight came from your shoulder. You'll be free from that unforgiving heart. You're free from that. And I will say, we as Christians, we have to learn to forgive. And we have to learn to forgive and respect. Because this is when we sin and become short. Everyone sin, everyone falls short of the glory of God. But thank God for His mercy and His grace. Right? And that is what saved us. So then when we pray, we have to pray that all men will live a peaceful life. And pray that we should not pray against weakness against one another. We should pray that everyone life will be better and life will be better and the society will be better. And when we pray and we pray in one accord for the heart, we pray the spirit of love, a spirit of peace. God will hear us and He answer our prayer. Because He said if we come before with a clean heart and we come before Him believing, He will hear our prayer and we shall receive what we are prayed, what we are cried out unto him for. Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, scholar, and prayer did work also in 83. You see, one of the challenges Maurice Bishop had, Maurice Bishop treated the bishop of the Catholic Church very badly. The bishop himself was at the Catholic hierarchy then, was suspected of supporting the revolution. They didn't like Gary. But after they start arresting people, these people would go to the church. Even when Sidney Charles went to the prison and the guys complained to him, he tried to have an audience with Bishop. The word on the ground then was Sidney Charles, if Bishop made an appointment for him to see him 1 o'clock, hours after, Sidney Charles would be waiting. And then Bishop would cancel the appointment. So the church sent to Rome for assistance, and Rome sent help. But you see, caller on the line, welcome.
Yeah, afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Tell me something. The holidays that you expect to be celebrating for 1 week, is it because of the revolution, the Maurice Bishop, or remembering those people that died within that period? What really is the rationale for the celebrations? Have you any idea?
Well, at this stage, I don't know even if the architects of the holiday knows. I think presently the government is whooping. You see, maybe, and that's one of the sad stories of the National Democratic Congress. They don't seem to have a general plan. In one of the exercise, whether it was for dramatic purpose or what, it is said that they were trying to evoke the spirit of Maurice Bishop. And now perhaps they want to hatch on to some of Maurice Bishop momentum.
Yeah, because some of the things that is being propagated is that the amount of games that we had from the revolution. And we used to make nectars, and we had factories, and we had buses, and we had the national airport and so forth. And we trained a lot of doctors in Cuba and what have you, which was very good. However, when you put Maurice Bishop ahead of Gary, so Eric Matthew Gary, and there was not a holiday for Eric Matthew Gary, I marvel at that. Because Dr. Eric Matthew Gary organized the St. George's University, and most doctors around the world today are being trained at the St. George's University. But I didn't hear you call his name at all in reference to a holiday, recognizing that he built so many schools and what have you.
28 schools in 13.5 years.
Yeah, but we're not speaking about that at all. How come? In fact, I understand that the factories that you had was to ensure that we in Grenada got food, because Grenada was under sanction by the US also, like in Cuba. And so, whereas the Cuban had to be self-sufficient, they had to try to feed themselves. We were heading that direction also, that once the embargo is listed out, the other islands couldn't trade with us. And we know that. So we had to find some way to feed ourselves. And so we ended up doing that. And the Cubans that were here, we had to feed them too. And so we had those factories to feed them. It wasn't for export. Who are we going to export it to? What we had here ready to export? Huh? What we really had here to export, it was to feed ourselves, because the U.S. had enlisted sanction on Grenada like they did in Cuba, because it was the Cubans that were running here. Yeah, Cubans were more or less in charge of running this country. And so we were placed in that situation because, for me as a Grenadian, I didn't have a choice. They placed me here when they fought and took over the country. I'll tell you what, I had the experience one night. No, I used to be wearing the uniform once, right? And I had the experience one night when two guys, Pierre, fired bullets at me. Okay? One with a rifle, church rifle, and one with an automatic pistol, 25. He said he had 5 bullets in that one. The rifle had 2 bullets. And when he cranked and he fired off the one that had the rifle fired off, only 1 bullet went off. The automatic 25 that he had 5 bullets in, only 1 bullet went off. Okay? And I felt my head shake as the bullet passed close to me. I saw the fire from the rifle. Yes? As they passed close to me. Those boys had to give nobody account for what they do during that time. And if you think I lie, you could ask our comrade leader in charge of the union. If you think I'm telling a lie, them boys knew what they were doing. So what happened here now is that after the revolution, most of them ran away from the country because they were being arrested, most of them, for the atrocities that they committed against Grenadians. They migrated to the U.S. Now, everything seems to be nice. And they organize themselves so strategically that they're returning sneakily back in the country. And what did chap say? Retroactive justice.
Restorative justice.
Restorative justice. You know what he's saying, you know? Restorative justice. It's like we did those boys wrong in that they had a whole country and we took it from them. So now they come back to restore their whole on poor little Grenada, not caring what happened to me, because they come from America with US dollars and they could spend and they could talk and they could do whatever they want. You understand?
Yes, scholar.
This position that we are in right now, a lot of mercy on us, because they don't care. They don't care one damn that happens to us in Grenada because they have money.
Yes,
They come from with US dollars, not with Cuban currency. They come here because, like you say, they did not go to Cuba. They went to America, so they have US currencies, and they laugh at us. They laugh at us. You understand?
Yes, scholar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, this is why I don't believe in teaching history in school. I'm somebody who don't bother with history again. I would like to tell my offspring my stories and the story of my family. And I believe people must tell their children their history. But when monkey writes his story, monkey always right. So you expect the revolution was made in a lab and they continue to propagate lies and sex up the truth. And maybe that is why they interfere. A group of individuals that did not promote religion was trying now to evoke Morris Bishop's spirit. You have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes.
Yes, man.
Brother, how do you do?
Great, man.
Yes. Everything very good. Uncle Gary. Uncle Gary is the man that thing the airport. Right, because down there was a salt.
Well, he started it, but the revolution did it.
Yes.
Yeah, he did the research and the plan and etc. and choose the site.
That's
but you
right.
see, most of those Garyites couldn't write. So those that could write, they stole the story.
And to besides down there was a salt pan, you know.
Yeah.
Because the other lady from by me here, they call her Lancia. Man, we go down and we get one set of salt and we come up with it.
Yeah.
Salt
So
pan.
that's it. So normally, when monkey writes his story, monkey always writes.
Right.
I don't give him history much credence again.
That's right.
You know, even
so
slavery.
You have a wonderful evening.
Yes,
darling.
my sister. Thank you
God
very
bless
much.
you. Love
Yeah.
you. Bye-bye.
Even slavery. We're walking on with slavery on our head. As if the black man in Africa wasn't selling slaves. The black man in Africa was selling slaves. And the European went and buy. They sell each other tribes. When they were stronger, they sold their brothers and sisters. That is what the black man did in Africa. They sold their brothers. And the Europeans get an opportunity to go and buy slaves. Now we're talking about reparation. We want to create history. We're creating history. So I don't pay much attention to history. It's better your child learn maths and English, a science subject, a foreign language. That would give them an opportunity to be more competitive on the job market. Every time you talk about education, they're using a subterfuge, a distraction tactics. The same thing that he's doing now. The same thing. The National Democratic Congress must tell us about the body of Glenn Simon, Wilbur Charles, Ikomo, Iman, Jerry, and Mackenzie. All these parents never get these bodies to bury. The revolutionaries knew about these bodies. Morris Bishop knew about them. The parents never get them back to bury. These now that want to make Bishop a next hero again, you want to put up a statue for him. It's all perhaps to hide their own plan. And it doesn't work. It's going to fall through. But those who are victims in the revolution, perhaps the time has come for you to speak. We already had a Truth and Reconciliation Commission that should have let sleeping dogs lie. But they felt they had to go and evoke Morris Bishop's spirit to hatch on a man's achievement. But with that achievement, they also have the dark side. And the Prime Minister said, it is not so much transformation, but restorative justice. One of my friends, my strong NDC partner, he was taking issue with me because he felt that I'm attacking the NDC. And I was explaining to him, no, I'm not attacking the policies or what they're doing wrong in the country. I'm objecting as forcefully as I possibly could to the fact that they want to have restorative justice. I call it victimization. And as I said before, we never had that in Grenada post the revolution. It never took place. But sometimes we let people lie in the society to sex up the truth and to dish out propaganda. And we don't take issue with it. We don't neutralize it. So it becomes concretized among the young minds. Our younger ones in the village believe that because they don't know the truth. And it's the fault of the parents. They never tell them that the revolution passed around with a mic. They go in Ticolor and they say, come out and hear what the revolution have in store for you. And people come in the community centers genuinely believing that they had something positive, beneficial for the community. And they use that to call out the names of the people they wanted to be arrested and put them on a truck and take them to prison. And they round up the Rasta. You don't have to believe me. Ask I-Free. He's celebrating his 77th birthday in Liver on Saturday. He said, well, that celebration might go right onto Sunday because he's 77. And he remembers his song, When the Two Sevens Clash. So I-Free will be celebrating his birthday in Liver. Go and ask him. Ask him. He was one of the individuals who refused to eat the food they was giving him in Hopeville. Yeah, but that's the challenge we have to live in Grenada. You see, Grenada, George Brizan wrote, is the island of conflict. But when he was teaching his children history, he had to delete a chapter from the book. Because when he was going to publish the book The revolution took place there. So the great brother had to delete a chapter from the book because he might have offended the revolution. So I always say to you, when Monkey writes his story, Monkey always writes. History is for the victor. So sometimes we waste our children time studying history that people write from their perspective. Maybe we have to write our own stories and know the stories from our parents. So it's important to be careful what you tell your children. You must know. And you must know what your children telling you, and what your children having, the discussion they're having with your parents. I think sometimes the black man is the black man's worst enemy. That's why I strongly believe we have to change our attitude and our mentality and start to look out for our own people. This is why I take such strong objection to victimization in a country, because then it gets entrenched. Look at the violence that's going on in Trinidad and Jamaica. In the Caribbean, Trinidad was like little New York. They should have had more doctors and more trained personnel than Cuba. But they never invested in those individuals in Trinidad. They never invested enough in the ordinary man. And the same thing we're doing in Grenada here. Because you see, the courses that are offered, our students, our people don't have the qualification to accept the courses. That's why it starts. We refuse to teach our people. We profile them since they enter school. We have our own selection system because we only want a few succeed. That's the problem. So now we have a society where we are victimizing people, but not medical doctors, not nurses, not senior police officers, not teachers, not professionals, not people that are very educated. We are going against those that is least competitive on the job market. And our intellectuals refuse to challenge themselves. What they must do, come publicly like me on the radio and say that is not true. That is what they need to do. Come publicly and tell our people why 70% of our children cannot pass maths and English. Ask them what percentage of the people that are being victimized that left school with a minimum basic qualification. You see, one have to be very careful with the intelligentsia. More often than not, they act as bullies and they lack morality. Albert Einstein said, never trust morality in the hands of the highly intellect. The people who are being persecuted in Grenada today, I'm willing to bet you that they did not leave school with a minimum requirement. That is why some of our politicians could be bullies. They take advantage. They can't go after the intellectuals. They can't touch them. They cannot go after the public officers that are appointed by the Public Service Commission. They are protected. If they transfer them to a post, that is legal. They look at the category of people that they're going after. Always is the people who leave school with tout the minimum requirements is the people in Grenada who is less competitive on the job market. Look at the attitude of the same characters against the Imani program. The best program in Grenada in the last 100 years to address the challenges of those who leave school without the minimum requirement and to help them deal with the competitiveness on the job market. These are the ones that are going behind. And you know what saddens my heart? It is not necessary. In fact, it is vulgar. It is evil. And I'll tell you why. Because of the consequences and the fallout of COVID-19, the worst pandemic we have had in the last 100 years. Because of that, the international community provide assistance for some of these third world countries to help their people to create a buffer zone. So you people, even if they're on the ground, they're going to fall on a piece of sponge. Because anytime a country have harsh economic times, the poorer you are, the greater the opportunity to suffer. So Grenada got assistance and they divided it into 3 stages or 3 tranches. And they already gave 2 under the previous governments. Now, I'm not interfering with that, who they give. That's the government decision. And I'm not interfering with this government. What they do with the 20 million, that is their business. But this is not money they have to pay back. This is granted. So while they have this money, giving people who it is important for them to get it, but they're not in dire strait, up to $30,000, they're putting some people out of their job just to satisfy some of their supporters, for them to have a good laugh, for them to enjoy it. I call that evil. You have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Congratulations again to your program, but I want to alert you that Bishop locked up all the people of Montreat and Montreal in St. Patrick, and the people now not commented on that. Hundreds of people in Montreat were sent to jail. There was this particular person in Montreat, he had to run away to Trinidad to save his life, otherwise the Pierre would have killed him. So I don't know what they're talking about celebrating Bishop. Next year, please God, and next year, please God. Uncle Gary did to celebrate. I certainly would have gone and put my X again for Uncle Gary. So I don't know what they're talking about. Hundreds of people in Montreat. My brother right now cannot even read and write because they took him and they locked him up in jail in Sotes for about 3 or 4 years. They're not talking about that. And every day, every time they talk about it, it grieves me heart because my brother right now is suffering in Montreat. Thank you very much, Mr. Bay, for listening to me.
Yes, the people of Montreat, the people of Tivoli, they was targeted for persecution. They were targeted for persecution. And Tivoli is a very small village. So when you say Tivoli, La Poterie, Conference, all the surrounding areas. And I think Tivoli name come out as a result of a general in Fado time. Tivoli and Chantimel. But Tivoli is a very small village, but the name has great significance. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Yeah, we lost that caller. So, yes, but the time has come for some of you. See, we have intelligentsias in this country, in these communities, but they abscond the community. I tell you about Tilaita and your daughter. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hello, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, brother.
Yeah.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, good.
for the past 39 years, that's the best thing any government ever do in Grenada. To make October 19, my bishop body. That is the best thing anybody could have done with that. Long live the spirit of my bishop. Long live the spirit of my bishop. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yes, my brother. Maurice Bishop had great charisma and is loved by a lot of people. So obviously, you have people who have great love for him. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes,
How
man.
are you?
Great, man.
Yes, well, talking about Maurice Bishop during the Revolution time. I live in the village of a little place they call Mount Fan. I'm sure you know that.
Yes,
that
man.
place.
Great, man.
And as people in Mount Fan, we were solid supporters of Gary at that time. And you know, it have a few of us named they had down for killing. I could state it. That time, Leslie Place in Croce was a thing for them. And they had a few of us them well enough around here for killing for what? Because we supporting Gary. And I don't know how some of us escape, I have to say, from the killing is because some of the own supporters who we really rap with, kind of associate with, that is what I could say from me myself, is a good friend of mine. I could even call his name, I think he died now, Benny Alexander. All of them was head people there to pick up people when they met him. Ask him, I say, so, I understand all you have my name down, but what I've done to you all? He asked me my name, I told him. He said, all right, girl, you forget that. You forget. So most of us escape here from Bishop this morning. I heard a lady come. I don't say after he thing, he didn't have one or two little program in that was thing. But this revolution, then it come to just swipe out most Grenadians, most of us. So I don't know, some people rating it up and rating the and if it's that is what they planning again, Mr. Pierre, from since with this election, I spoke it openly. You see how the election go? I am very happy about how it went. Because you know why? I saw it. If these people and them didn't get there where they are now, that is what they was coming after again. I saw it and I spoke about it. And so, at this present time, God is in the making. Let God have his way and let his will be done. But I don't think Grenada can take something so again. So your program, your program is very educated, and I always listen morning and midday. So may God bless you all and continue with the program.
Yes,
God
God.
bless.
One of the challenges we have in small countries, where we have the politics, and then we had an outstanding individual, Eric Gary, for a very long time in Grenada in terms of Grenada politics. Gary spent 13 and a half years in politics as a leader. So a number of Grenadians grew to hate Gary. Although they couldn't beat him in election, although they couldn't get any justification to try him in the court, but they hated him still because he fought against some of those who was in the, you'll call the petty bourgeoisie, the plantocracy, the planters, the highly intellect. He fought against them. And Gary himself had a lot of swag. So he practically intimidates you with his charisma and his culture and etc. So Gary attracted a lot of haters. He was a very polarizing figure. But during that time, most of the supporters of Gary was not that highly intelligent. So the intelligentsia came from the GNP side, and then Maurice Bishop joined them. Most of them was university graduates. And then we had a period of Kit Mitchell, a very long period. And Kit Mitchell definitely is the most successful politician in Grenada and in the region. And he reached out to the ordinary man more than anybody else. So again, he too is a polarizing figure and would attract a lot of hate. Some people, it's just a case of envy. He is successful and they are not. So they want to see the back of him. But we have another group of people in the country that must learn to speak out and say it as it is. Because when these things take place, we cause hate in the community. And everybody suffers. During the revolution, you saw people, men, put their hand on their head and bawl like a cow. And they were supporting the revolution. But the revolution was causing people to die. And I said before, it is an early death that caused Maurice Bishop to visit the village known as the Holy Comforter. And maybe he didn't even plan it. But so much people come out in the meeting, he tell them legalize weed. It didn't tell them he go legal. It didn't say weed legalized, but the prime minister say you could plant weed. And a number of people get up and ask him questions. He said plant weed. It was after that Fargo got jailed for weed and they lock up the man with the Red Rover. So you see, what a prime minister says is important. So when the prime minister said to people, if you would, no one would lose their job, what a political leader say, no one would lose their job and we're going to make you permanent. I take issue with that because the prime minister don't have an economic justification for doing that. In addition to that, in addition to the fact that he's not doing it for economic reasons, the international community provide money for Grenada for the fallout and the consequences for the worst pandemic in the last 100 years. And while you are providing up to $30,000 for people to invest in business and projects in grant aid, it means they don't have to pay it back. You are firing people that work 8 and 9 and 10 years and getting younger people to take their job. That, in my mind, is a cardinal sin. It's evil. This government had a good opportunity. They got it on a silver platter, a glorious opportunity. No one had done them wrong. So it was not necessary for the government to come up with restorative justice. And I know some of our cozy journalists and the trade union representative in the Senate would not ask them that, but I will continue to ask that question. I will continue to ask that question. You know, you hearing my voice on radio, I came on radio for one reason alone. And I've not changed my objective on radio. I'm disappointed that 70% of our children cannot pass maths and English. 70% of our children cannot meet the basic requirement on living in school. That is why I come on radio. And I found out it is artificially created. It has nothing to do with children's ability. It has absolutely nothing to do with genetics. It is something that is artificially created. And I believe within 5 to 10 years, we could change it. Some people don't want it changed in the country. They don't want it changed. And I am convinced it's our intellectuals that is that bad-minded. They that don't want it changed. They're glad. So when 100 children enter school and supposed to do maths, they send in 10. And they're jumping up and they're whining that they get 90% pass. They like the selection system. My conviction was reinforced when I saw the attitude of them towards the Imani program. So I went and interviewed about 50 people that was involved in Imani. 7 of them, I interviewed them on the radio. And I couldn't understand the objection to that program from the National Democratic Congress and the Union. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
How are you?
Great, man.
Right. So based on what you're saying, this is why the referendum was waste of time. It was organized to fail. It was designed to fail, no? Would you say that?
No, I don't agree with you.
You don't agree with you?
No.
Well, based on what you're saying there, sir, right? It agreed to it agreed that it fall in.
What I'm saying have nothing to do with the referendum. Eric Williams in Trinidad. He said, Eric, listen, you see, you accuse me, so that's why I interrupted.
Okay, well, go.
Eric Williams in Trinidad, he said, if the Constitution good for England, it's good for us. I'm speaking there about our children not able to pass maths and English. It has nothing to do with the referendum.
No, but listen, but if our children is not educated, right? Is not educated along those lines, how we could make a proper decision in the voting for the referendum, or voting properly. How if our children is not educated properly, then how a proper informed decision could be made? No? So this is so right. You there? Hello?
Yes, I listen to you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you too much because
I know, right.
You know, we go just
what I'm thinking towards Mr. Pierre, towards the revolution. Now the thing about it is that look.
Yes, caller. Caller, we lost you.
Listen, a revolution is a thing that could happen anytime, any part of the world, right? It happens. We have to say, oh, in the Caribbean, we do accustomed to that and everything. But the thing about it is, Mr. Pierre, here, if leaders, right, from time to time, is in power, right, is in office or in power, and will.
Caller, go ahead. Caller, you're cutting off.
Voluntarily. Good? Say, look, all my people place me here. I did what I had to do.
Caller, your phone ringing. Caller, you have to try again. Caller, you better you try calling us again, and when you call, just go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you because once you're asking question to me, then we cutting down on the time and we back and forward, you know. The issue in the Grenada and the Caribbean, more have to be done to seek the interests of the ordinary man because they are less competitive on the job market. What is going on in Grenada here is not correct. It is not necessary. People would advance the view that when one government in power, they do it, and I come now and are doing it, and you're vexed. Over the last 15 years in Grenada, we did not have the problem with people losing their job as we have now. All governments, yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, but Mr. Pierre, well, listen to me. The thing about it is that our leaders never seek to educate the people. Okay, and this is what happened over the years. So you will find those kind of situations.
What should we do? Just hush him out?
No, the thing about it is,
should we just hush him out, or should we speak about it?
Well, yes, we have to speak. Yes, we have to speak about it. But then again, you see, listen to me. And if you look, Mr. Pierre, to be honest, right, to me and you and the population at large, right, you say we must. We must not hush. We must speak about it, right? Yes, a million and one times yes. But with the same breath, Mr. Pierre, right? With the same breath, if this is what maybe our leaders or bishop and others did seek to do Psalm 79 to 23. Hold on. Now right within that circle, what we'll find, right, is that a lot of unfortunate situation is going to happen, and and things like that happen in any given situation in any part of the world.
Caller, does that make it right?
Listen to me, Mr. Pierre. That has nothing to do with wrong or right. Okay? Listen to me, friend. With due respect to you. No disrespect. No disrespect, no dishonor. Right? The thing about it is, look, when certain things happen, there is a certain result that will happen, which is just obvious. Mr. Pierre,
I listen.
Right.
I listen to what you say.
No. Listen. No. Okay. Let's talk something here, man to man. Right? There's a lot of people who gave their life, who make all this, who sacrifice their life, right, for this revolution, right? No. The thing about it is whether it's wrong or right, whether it's, but the thing about it is a lot of people gave their life. A lot of people sacrificed their lives. A lot of people. Then what? And a lot of people again. End up unfortunate, right?
Okay, scholar.
Listen to me. No. Hold on.
We're running out of time, eh?
Right.
And I give you a good time.
Right. So the end up of the thing is what we're supposed to do: bring everybody together and let us try and work on this thing once and for all. Because 10 years, 20, 40 years, 6 years from now, every time this time come around, it will be always a pulling and a tugging and a thing.
Okay,
so
Colin.
we have to try to go.
Yeah. Yes, scholar, they're going to be a tugging because there are some people don't want to hear the negatives. They don't want to say 3,000 Grenadians was in jail. They're telling you it's a revolution, so jail them. They don't want to say that the family of Glenn Simon, Wilbur Charles, Ikomo, Ayman, Jerry, and Mackenzie never get the body to bury. And these people didn't die on the foot. They died long before. They don't want you to say that over 3,000 to 4,000 people flee this country. They don't want to say that all the comrades, they go in America. The same country that was calling CIA agent, that is where they go. They don't want you to say that. The socialist country established Ministry of Mobilization and they victimize people. And that is my concern. Why is it necessary today for the government to establish a Ministry of Mobilization? Why is it the Prime Minister say is not so much transformation, but restorative justice? They're using a lot of big words there. We, the ordinary rustic, sometimes we get romanticized when they use big words. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
I always say.
And you have to punch now.
Yeah, it is easy to say, let us come together. I agree for coming together and working together. But that coming together and working together, you have to treat people the way you should treat people. You cannot treat one set of people with love and other people treat them with dislike. So we have to come together. Yes, that is good, but is it doing of coming together is important. It's easy, but you have to put things in place
Yeah.
so everybody will benefit from whatever benefit that will come for the country. You cannot try to get rid of some people and embrace others. You have everybody should be treated the right way. They should be treated for coming together.
Yes, scholar. Yes, scholar. When Maurice Bishop was asking for unity, was the same thing, you know. But he don't want counters. They said they felt it was justified to lock up counter-revolutionary. So now when the government is calling, and some people talking about unity, but they don't want people who they consider that didn't support them. So you have to ask people, who are you speaking to? Do we have some basic principles here? That international community gave Grenada money to help buffer the effect and the consequences of COVID-19. And while you are providing $30,000 up to $30,000 package for people who not necessarily in dire need, you are firing people that work 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Now, how do you explain that? That is my challenge, you know. Explain these things, because it's not a question that you don't have money. I'm not taking issue with the National Democratic Congress, whether they put tax here, tax there, who you put in the diplomatic code. That's not the issue. Why is it necessary for you to fire people? And I'm not speaking about the men they fire. The men could also follow what Mr. X say, licks it. And if you fire a man in Grenville and a woman show him out, you could go and go and get a woman, and vice versa. So I'm not speaking about men. The women, 8, 9, 10, 15 years, they are not that competitive on the job market. They are cleaners, they are cooks. These are some of the jobs you're doing. Why is it necessary to send these people home in tears? Some of the brothers in the diaspora, maybe they don't understand. In the same way, they play blind and deaf in the revolution. The same thing they did during the revolution. They play blind and deaf. And I'm saying the government need to explain to the public, why is it necessary for them to get rid of these people? Over 200 and something contract construction jobs, projects are in play. So it's not to say you don't have projects. You claim the treasury in good standing. So what is justification? You got $10 million for budgetary support from Saudi Arabia, and you had $20 million to provide assistance from the fallout and the consequences of COVID-19. So why put tears in these people who work 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 years? That, in my opinion, is evil, unacceptable. That is victimization. And I think it's wrong. And I believe that is where our intelligentsia is failing us. So when you hear crime in Trinidad, it doesn't bother. Sometimes who you think are the victims are not the victims, because it is artificially created. Go and find out what was done to the Rasta man in Jamaica from Bustamante days, and you're going to see how the situation in Jamaica was artificially created, and our intelligentsia, even from the university, shut them out and did nothing. But when violence reign a country, intelligentsia does dead too. Your place become the target for them to break, and you help create the environment. And that is my issue. And because my only reason for coming on radio is because 70% of our children can meet the basic requirement and are not living that objective. As soon as that objective change, I wish you could change within 5 to 10 years, you will not hear my voice again. Thank you very much.
Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain.
Triple N. Informative, entertaining, and first.